Living Plan Commission meeting for Thursday, August 25th, 2016 is called to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Secretary, roll call, please.
Commissioner Dorban.
I'm here.
Commissioner Saku. Here. Commissioner Johnson.
Here.
Commissioner Powers is here. Commissioner Sianis.
Here.
Commissioner Zangara.
Here.
Chairman Rafato.
Here. Brooke, any changes to the agenda?
Yes, there was one change today. One of the items under the consent agenda, the SCBA 16-18 Hamilton Partners at 800 Northgate Parkway, appearance approval of a development sign that has been removed from the agenda per the petitioner's request. I had received a comment from Plan Commissioner earlier this week, concern for the lack of a landscape plan, and asked that the petitioner be present for the meeting and to take that item off the consent. I talked to the petitioner about it, and they asked that the item be removed from the agenda to give them time to think about how to proceed.
Thank you. Citizen concerns and comments at this time. Anyone wishing to speak on items other than that are on for items for review can come forward now. Consent items, docket number SCBA 16-19, Centro Medico 52 North Wolf Road, appearance approval of a wall sign. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second. Who was the so moved? Oh, thank you. The motion was made by Commissioner Zangara, second by Commissioner Johnson.
Commissioner Zangara.
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson.
Yes.
Commissioner Dorban.
Yes.
Commissioner Saku.
Yes.
Commissioner Powers votes yes. Commissioner Sianis.
Yes.
Chairman Rafato.
Yes.
May I ask a question? It appears that this was the same, use was the same before, correct? I mean, it was a medical facility before?
I know that this is a new medical office. I don't know what was previously occupying this location.
So wouldn't that make a difference? I mean,
With regard to what?
In other words, would it have to come before us before we could approve the sign if it was, wouldn't it be considered a special use then?
Medical office is a permitted use in the
Okay.
B3 district.
Okay, that's all. Just was
question.
curious.
Items for review, docket number 2016-16, continued from July 28th, 2016. Omni Youth Services, 2010 to 2012 North Wolf Road, 210 through 212 North Wolf Road. Special use site plan approval of a social service facility. Ms. Jones, anything to add?
I would ask the petitioner to come forward.
Sir, I don't recall, were you here in the last meeting? You were? Okay, thank you.
I was.
Okay, I just, I know everybody stood up and I swore everybody in, just wanted to make sure we were covered. Thank you. If you give your name again?
Sure. You know, I wasn't sworn in last time, but I was here.
Okay. If you raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you give be the truth tonight?
I do.
Thank you.
Good evening, Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Justin Silva. I'm with Dan Shapiro Law. Our office address is 3661 Woodhead Drive in Northbrook. Our firm represents the petitioner, which is Omni Youth Services, and they're seeking the special use and site plan approval for a social service facility at 210-12 North Wolf. Mr. Shapiro first appeared before you on July 28th, 2016, and at that time you had a following requests we presented, and you had a number of requests and concerns which were raised at that time. One being a clear site plan which specifically provided dimensions for parking, as well as floor plan which specifically showed individual furniture as well as office space as well. Also had concerns with regard to the fire department and retrofitting of the sprinkler system, whether it was needed or not. There was also a concern that there was no landscape plan at the time when we presented, as well as there was no bike rack shown on the site plan. There was also a request that we provide cut sheets for the cedar fence that was proposed for the property, as well as within the landscape plan, specific species of plants that were going to be planted, essentially an existing site plan and then a proposed site plan, not only for the front garden area, but as well for the side of the facility off of Wolf Drive, which was really a request to upgrade some of the landscaping off of Wolf Drive. We also heard that you wanted to have the existing egress and egress as well as the parking layout remain the same as is. And also just one last cosmetic was a repainting of some of the rusted doors on the exterior of the facility. I believe we've addressed all of these. We provided staff with the new plans. And I'd like to have Mr. Sean Elke, our architect, come up and just review those changes for you now.
Thank you.
Good evening. Sean Elke with Elke Langerer Architects, located in Wheeling, Illinois. Just to briefly go through the plans that we've provided for tonight's hearing. In front of you is the proposed site plan, and as Justin said, we are really looking to basically reuse that site as it is. And so what we've provided here is we are now showing with this document, we actually show the dimensioning for the parking that's being proposed. Currently, there's 27 parking spaces, 29 parking spaces, I'm sorry. This plan, actually, by repaving and restriping, we end up with 29 parking spaces again, but we're able to pick up the 2 handicap spaces that we need to meet the state code. Additionally, we are showing the angled parking as it exists along the south side of the building. There are 7 spaces there, and it goes really from corner to corner of the building, or the southwest corner to the east, and the edge of the pavement. And then the dimension from the building to the edge of the parking, the pavement, that has been shown on this plan. It's 34 feet 4 inches, and that's all existing conditions. Additionally, on the building on the west side, there was the request for painting the exterior door, the service door. That has been shown. We are showing up on the north end a bike rack for 7 bikes. We are showing a 6-foot-high stockade fence around the trash enclosure area, trash corral, and replacing the existing fence along the west property line and a portion of the north property line as it goes from the northwest corner to the building. The pavement plan shows paint striping and directional arrows for traffic. There is also a sign that has been put in at the end of the one-way traffic. There's a sign that's being proposed for do not enter that way with the cars. That's basically it for the site plan. Can we move? Any questions?
We'll
Keep going?
keep going.
All right. Brooke, if you can bring up the floor plan, which is EX 101. Well, let's go
I
to
have
this.
both floor plans. Which would you like?
Let's go to that EX 101, which was the existing floor plan.
I don't think I have the existing because I only have the two proposed floor plans.
Okay, okay. Well, what we did is we had a meeting since our last hearing. We met with Ron Antor Derice and I met with him, and we went over the concerns that the fire department had about the occupancy count to the building and what the plans were initially submitted. And what we did is we did an analysis based on the overall building square footage based on a business classification, and that gets us to 86 occupants. Then Fire Inspector Antor asked us to analyze the building for what it is currently and what the proposed build-out is, looking at the various areas for business, assembly unconcentrated, which is tables and chairs, accessory and storage areas, to come up with an overall occupancy count. When we analyzed the existing building as it was laid out, we came up with 143 occupants. When we did our analysis based on the proposed interior changes and looking at all those areas, we came up with 144 occupants. So we're basically keeping this building in a similar vein as to the way it was originally constructed. Additionally, the document that's up on the screen right now is a proposed floor plan. We took the floor plans and we simplified them. There was phasing lines, and it was really kind of a permit drawing ready to go in for permit submission. We've taken that drawing and we've backed it down to really what's proper for the hearing to show what the intended uses are of all the spaces, as well as to show what the intended furniture layout and use of each area is. And if you look at all the seats that are kind of darkened in there, that shows seats that will actually be occupied. We counted everything that we could even consider really being in there. For example, if you look in the waiting area and the receptionist area, there's a receptionist there. There's chairs for 7 people. Those are all filled. We went through all the offices. Every staff position is solid. Any kind of a guest chair or a chair within an office, that was made solid. We did it in the meeting areas. We did it in the large group area. We did it in the staff area up in the northwest corner. And long story short, we come up with 90 occupants. And so I believe that after that was submitted to the fire department, they came back and said that they were okay with what we were proposing in the plans. Okay? Additionally, kind of moving further along, there was a photo, going back to the site, there was a photometric plan that was asked for last time that was actually put together. And that's actually looking at the lights on the building. There's 3 on the west side and 1 on the south. Those are being the fixtures are being changed out for LED fixtures, and the photometrics are as they occur on this drawing. As I said in the last hearing, I'm not a landscape architect, but there was landscape plans that were put together by another firm, and those have been submitted as well to give additional detail and fleshing out what the actual plant species are for along the front of the building on the east side along Wolf Road, and as well as this rain garden that's at the south side of the angled parking area. And that basically is my presentation for this evening. Any questions?
I'm sure we'll have a
Okay.
few.
All right.
Does
Hi.
any, okay. would
Doris
you-
McCarthy. I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity to come back. I think we've addressed all of your concerns, and I'm actually even more excited about the building, so it was a helpful process for me. So I'm just here to answer any of your questions.
Great, thank you. We'll start with Commissioner Isako.
I wanted to confirm the turning lane. I think last time was it the angled parking was in the opposite direction, and so we had asked for it to be changed to this direction.
Correct.
And the reasoning was because of the turn from Wolf, is that right?
Right.
Yeah,
Okay.
this is actually existing,
Okay.
but it's a good refresher.
And I read that the fire department had to still review, when I was looking at our report, but, so as long as the occupancy is 90, they're good on the sprinklers, and that's that condition will be in if we approve? Or how is that gonna go?
The occupancy of 90 is based upon the fire department's review and their system of counting occupants.
Okay,
When we talk about occupants, we were looking at how it will actually function, how the operation will exist, and not at necessarily how many people can they fit in this building. We talk about how many clients will be in the office, how many patients, how many employees, and based upon their submittal, it said there would be a maximum occupancy of 26. So I would prefer not to put that in the special use ordinance because it would may be confusing as we look at it and look at it from a zoning perspective. The fire department will hold them to that 90 occupant standard when they review the building plans.
Okay.
So I feel comfortable that they will ensure that requirement is met.
okay. I remember that was a major concern the first time around, and that was really the biggest concern I had was the sprinkler. Otherwise, I'm very happy with the changes and excited. So, thank you. That's it for me.
Commissioner Sianis.
No further comment.
Great, thank you. Commissioner Johnson.
Thank you. Just a couple minor things. Will the utility enclosure be upgraded when you do the new fence too? Okay.
Absolutely.
And you already said you're going to take care of the rusty doors. And just a question on the layout, the interior layout. There's an X area between the two stairways leading up to the mezzanine. What does that represent? Is that just open space down to the floor?
I can't see.
That actually is just a void space up there, and I'm not sure if it actually has any kind of ductwork in it or not, but that was...
Oh, okay.
There's no access to it. It's totally enclosed on all four sides.
Because oftentimes that would indicate an elevator or something, but,
There's no elevator to that second floor.
Part
okay,
of what makes it unusable for
Right.
us.
Yeah.
Unusable.
No elevator.
okay. Great job on responding to everything from the last meeting. Very impressed. That's all I had, thank you.
Commissioner Powers.
Thanks. I just have a quick question about the note about the landscaping on the northeast side. You mentioned something about removing the sidewalk. Is the sidewalk going to be moved because of the landscaping, or it's going to stay there?
No, it'll stay there.
It'll stay there? Okay. That's really all I had. I have to say, I'm very happy with what you guys came back with. I asked for a lot, and you came through, so thank you very much for that, and appreciate that. That's it.
Commissioner Zangara.
Thank you. I agree, you guys hit everything possible. The only one comment I will make with the parking, I noticed the angled parking there that's there now. The wheel stops are all parallel to the building. I would just make a suggestion to maybe do that again, because I know it's a lot easier for plowing than having all the angled.
Okay.
Otherwise, I think you accomplished everything, and hopefully we could get everyone out of here quickly, because I know someone has an anniversary, so.
Oh, my gosh, you remember.
I did remember.
That's right.
So that's all I have.
I wonder why he's got this look on his face. Commissioner Dorban.
I missed the last meeting, but I did watch the video and I did read the minutes, so I have some questions probably be directed to staff. One of the equations for having to put the sprinkler system in was because of the area of the mezzanine. Now, if I understood correctly, the mezzanine is only going to be used for storage. So is that still figured into the equation? And and then because they renamed some rooms rather than, I mean, they just renamed them. They didn't really do any major changes inside. So how did they determine that they need a
This
sprinkler?
really isn't a zoning issue, and so I did not go over it very closely with the fire department. But I'm sure Mr. Elke or another petitioner can explain that.
Yeah, I just want to know, I guess I want to know the rationale for why they're saying the sprinklers had to be put in, even though the mezzanine is only used for storage.
Do you want to bring up that floor plan? Okay, first of all, I want to say mezzanine is really an inappropriate term to describe what that space is, because it doesn't really meet the definitions of a mezzanine per code. So it's really a second floor, and unfortunately, it's just a partial second floor of the overall building footprint. So it's not a mezzanine because it's actually contained. It's got walls on all four sides. It's not open to the story below. That's why it's not called a mezzanine. Omni looked at this, and we looked at it and said, the only access up there are these two stairwells to get up there. I don't know how it was used in the past, but that's not really to be used legally as a really office space. And in the last hearing, Doris talked about that Omni has the need for storage of outdoor athletic equipment that they use in their counseling of their youth. And that's what that's being targeted as and being designated for. There's no handicap access to it. There's one bathroom up there that doesn't meet, accessibility requirements. So that was just taken off the table from day one with Omni, that was never going to be used as an office area.
So if that's the case, then the changes are not more than 50%. And if that's the case, then sprinklers shouldn't be required, am I correct?
The sprinklers, the fire department's determined now, after getting further clarification from the petitioner, that sprinklers are not required.
Okay.
So they're not required, they thought they might be, and then we got further clarification also about how these rooms were gonna be used, because they just seemed like large rooms before. That's why they included the floor plan with furniture and the number of seats, and so the fire department no longer thinks it needs to be.
Fine, good, I had a problem with that, okay. And then I know that Omni does a lot of work with youth, and they, like you said, the outdoor equipment. Because you're putting in a rain garden, have you considered using some of your youth to maintain that rain garden?
So we have all kinds of youth who come to the agency, many of them delinquent, some of them need community service, so that would be an opportunity for some community service hours. But we also try to be very careful in not looking like we're working our youth. So it's a fine line that we kind of have to walk. We also do youth development, so really healthy kids who want to learn leadership skills. We do a lot of those kind of services as well, and those are the kind of kids who are always looking for a service project for different reasons, because they want to do something for the community, and those are the type of kids who will help us. Right now at our current facility in Buffalo Grove, we have companies that want to volunteer. Allstate will send in, as an example, a group of 40 people that want to do something. And so we'll always take a group of them and they'll plant our landscaping in the front. Or, just our annual type of flowers, not our big bushes and trees and the landscape plan per se, but our annual flowers will have volunteers put in. So.
I only asked that because in the school district that I was in, we used a lot of youth with our rain garden, and I just wondered if you were going to do that. And I think there was one other question I had. I think that's all for now. Thank you.
And I guess I made a mistake a short bit ago. We are taking out a part of the sidewalk. So I just want to make sure that I'm.
Because it does say there remove existing
Yes.
sidewalk for new
So
landscape.
I did not, sorry, my eyes aren't seeing it very well, so that part of the sidewalk
That's okay. I was
will be
just
removed.
going to ask that question.
Yep.
So,
Oh, I forgot to ask, are you going to keep that Lake Cook building also?
We are going to keep that building as well, and this gives us a bigger footprint in the community, and just because you weren't here, this is where so many of our clients are. This is where they live. This will reduce that barrier of transportation.
Thank you.
was that it, Commissioner Dorbin?
That's it, thank you.
Okay, thank you. So you answered my one question, but it indicates it's being remove existing sidewalk for new landscape. But I don't see any landscape going up to that. So is that going to be grass?
I think it'll just be grass. What we really want to do by removing that sidewalk is just remove the temptation for people to want to come in that way.
Sure, understand. And completely, that makes perfect sense, except you still have the sidewalk on the north part.
Right.
So
It'll still happen a little bit.
So it'll just
Those
tempt
doors
them to
aren't
walk
yet, yeah.
across the grass instead of having a formal sidewalk to go across. Okay, and that makes sense. So that's going to be sodded?
Yes.
Okay, so if we could have that condition in there, that it, it will be sodded for that? Is that okay?
Perfect. Yes,
Okay,
absolutely.
cool, great, okay. Then, and the landscaping this is what we're looking for, the numbers, the quantities, and you've provided that, and, when, that will be checked at some point in the future, next spring or something, when all that thing can go in. But if, and I guess we can use this as a drawing, you don't have to go back to the site plan. So, right where the bike racks are at, northeast corner of the parking lot. So, and I looked at an aerial view. The bike rack is going to be there, great spot, out of the way. Can they walk across, is the fence that is surrounding that, is it going to be attached to the wall?
It will be attached to the wall, correct?
So it will,
It'll hit the building, yes.
great, so they can't walk on the side of the building?
Correct.
Okay, great, close it off, great. Okay. I believe that is all I had. Great, and as Commissioner Powers said, you've answered all the questions, and, you worked with staff, which is exactly what we wanted to do. Does anyone have any other questions? Additional questions? Brooke, yes?
Yes, well, if there's no
Don't
further.
go past the cell, so just remember that.
Pardon me?
Just don't go past the cell. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if there were no further questions at this time, we would respectfully request a favorable recommendation for the special use site plan approval for the social service facility. Thank you.
Thank you. Brooke, do we have a motion, do we have any conditions?
I have only one condition. The area where the sidewalk is removed shall be sodded.
Great, thank you.
Motion to approve.
Second?
I have a motion by Commissioner Powers, second by Commissioner Johnson. Mr. Secretary.
Commissioner Powers votes yes. Commissioner Johnson?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorbin?
Yes,
Commissioner Saku?
Yes.
Commissioner Sianis?
Yes.
Commissioner Zangara?
Yes.
And Chairman Rafato.
Yes. Motion to close?
so moved.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. You'll have something to sign. Just tells you what we have for our, the one condition, and we're good to go.
Thank you. Do we know when it might be on the board agenda?
Probably on the 6th, September 6th.
That's the following Tuesday?
Yes.
Tuesday after Labor Day?
Yeah, the Tuesday after Labor Day, yeah.
Great.
If, Mr. Shapiro or if you could come and sign these two. I'm sorry, we lost our clipboard here, so you can sign that, both of those, and you can take one with you.
Now that we're done, I'll thank you for allowing me to make my reservations tonight.
Happy anniversary. I know how that is.
Happy anniversary.
And I will see you guys in 2 weeks
Okay.
with something else coming up.
I was just telling Brooke how when Commissioner Shapiro was on the board, he would always preface it by saying, and we're not related. I was going to do that. I was going to do that tonight, but it's pretty obvious with different last names.
Where's dinner?
Yeah. Hope in Wheeling.
Where,
Okay, put me on the spot.
I'm just curious.
Really?
Yeah, why not?
His wife might be watching and it might be a
All right,
surprise.
fine. If it's a surprise, don't worry about it.
Reservations at Francesca's.
Ah, very nice. Very nice. Thank you. Docket number 2016-15 continued from July 28th, 2016 hearing to be continued to September 22nd, 2016. Do I hear a motion?
Motion.
So moved.
We have a motion by Commissioner Isaku, second by Commissioner Dorband. Mr. Secretary?
Commissioner Saku,
Yes.
Commissioner Dorban,
Yes.
Commissioner Johnson,
Yes.
Commissioner Powers votes yes, Commissioner Sianis,
Yes.
Commissioner Zangara,
Yes.
and Chairman Rafato.
Yes. Approval of minutes, July 28th. Includes facts and findings of fact for dockets number 2016-15, 16, and 17.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
May I make a comment?
Sure.
Thank you. It appears from watching the video and from reading the finding of fact that there were numerous variations of plans to the Dundee Commons project. When it comes back for another review, how can we ensure that, because there's been so many different changes and brought back so many times, that what we really want implemented is done? I mean, is there a way of, I know we're due digitally, the plans. Is there a way of marking them on there that you've reviewed them, that the Plan Commission's reviewed them, and what we've asked for, the changes are in there? How do we make sure that that happens?
Well, I just want to make a comment, and then I'll let Brooke and Mallory. One of the comments that I made at the end of that meeting, and I was categorically wrong, is the variations. There are no variations in a PUD. The note seemed to indicate that, and I misread it, because what it basically said is that the PUD, irrespective of it having variations, we didn't have to, they didn't have to, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't. Not follow, but it would be, so for instance, if one of the things was how the width of the parking spaces, it was more narrow than what our variation says. If we approve that, if we approve the narrow parking spot, then that's what we approve. It's not a, how do you say that? It's not a variation,
Well,
right?
yeah, a PUD is its own little unique zoning configuration. So you're approving a plan that in it, what we note in the plan, what is different than the code. They don't have to set forth and vote on each separate variation. So that's why we always let you know what is changing or what is different than what the code requires. PUDs typically, as we discussed in Town Center and we discussed in Northgate, typically have variation. That's because they're for unique sites.
Right.
That need a little, to allow creativity and flexibility with that site within the code. We just kind of point them out what they are.
Right, and I took it as we're going to need variations for those, and I completely forgot that it's not required. But now, you asked, the question that you asked, though, actually was, how do we
ensure that what we act, because he's brought so many plans to us, and they've been changed, and then we came before us, and oh, there's a change today, and it goes back and forth and back and forth, and the numerous amount of changes and the fact that things have been brought to us at the last minute, how do we make sure that what we asked for to be done, whether it's a variation or it's a PUD or however it is that what we want and what we've asked for gets implemented? That's my concern.
I will do a critical review and include all those updates in the staff report. And then if they provide plans on the spot at the Plan Commission meeting, then you probably should not approve those that evening, continue the meeting so that we can review those more closely.
I just want to make sure that, you know,
Absolutely, yes.
that you've reviewed them carefully.
Oh, yes.
And
We
we've,
wouldn't want
you know,
to present plans to you that we haven't reviewed.
well, I mean, even when it comes down to the last piece of it, how do we make sure that, are there any way of, because like I said, we're doing it digitally, is there any way of marking the plans that with your initials
I
somehow?
always mark the plans, the date received, and so that's my mark, staff's mark.
But you've been received them, but then my question is, that you've reviewed them and you're okay with what they've agreed to and what we've agreed to?
Right.
I guess that's my
I
concern.
always take a lot of time to make sure that the plans don't get mixed up.
Okay.
And that
I just, you know.
I keep the draft plans separate from what is actually proposed and what the Plan Commission reviews.
I mean, it's happened to us in the past, so I guess I'm a little gun shy.
Yes.
And I would just emphasize that what they submit doesn't necessarily mean it's what you guys want. And so what Brooke's done in the past, she did it tonight with this one. She lists out what the changes or the requests were and then states whether or not the plans reflect that or if there's something missing. We've done that with other developments as well. So, you know, it may be that they could either submit a plan that complies with everything that was requested, but if it's missing things that were requested, usually the staff report calls that out. And so that's how you would know.
Okay, thank you.
Other business, Brooke?
I have nothing.
Okay. Commissioner Sianis.
All right, so tonight will be my last night on the Plan Commission. My wife and I are moving out of the village of Wheeling to move closer to my parents. So I wanted to say thank you guys for allowing me to be on the Plan Commission. I really enjoyed it. I've learned a lot. Having been on the other side of the room for my career, it's interesting to be on this side of the table, and I've enjoyed it. So, yeah, thank you for letting me be a part of the Village of Wheeling.
Well, thank you for your
Thank you
service.
for your service. We appreciate it. Thank you and good luck.
Thank you.
Commissioner Zangaro.
Only thing, I'm available for either of those special meetings, so.
You are?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
And I
So either one's fine.
texted Brooke back.
Great, thank you.
That's all.
Commissioner Dorband, anything?
Nothing, thank you.
Thank you. But good comments, though, about what you saw in the meetings. And thank you for bringing that up, because I wanted to bring it up, because I know we were talking about that and about the variations, and it just I'm easily confused, so. Commissioner Johnson.
Brooke, I guess I was surprised that we have a landscape requirement for development signs.
Yes,
Because we have some out there that don't
Right.
seem to have any landscaping.
right.
Yes.
And so the code requires it. However, the Plan Commission has, on certain occasions, waived the requirement when there is mature landscaping in the vicinity.
Okay.
So most recently, that occurred with the town center development sign that went up about a month ago.
What about the one kitty corner from there?
I don't
Or
recall that
even the-
coming here.
Right, or even the Dundee crossings or Dundee,
Those signs may not be a development sign. They might fall under a different definition of a sign as a temporary sign.
What's the difference between a development sign and a temporary sign?
A development sign is allowed for 1 year, and can be renewed for an additional year, so a total of 2 years. And that's why it has the requirement of landscaping.
Okay.
Whereas other signs are much more temporary in nature. And they also have a smaller size.
How do we know
limitation.
if they're going to be there a year, or 2 years, or 3 years? I mean, how do we, I
So a
mean,
development sign is automatically allowed for 1 year. And if they, so that's,
but I mean, you've got an awful lot on your plate already, so how do you keep track of that?
we keep track of all different types of things.
I mean, it just seems like,
We have calendars and we make notes and,
I just, I'm just wondering if it would be better for us to, make them automatically, to change the code, to say that they have to put the landscaping in, rather than have one more
Oh, no,
thing
no.
for staff to have to follow
that's not
through.
the issue. The issue is, it's either approved with landscaping or it's not. And all development signs are allowed to be maintained for 1 year. It's up to the Plan Commission's discretion if they are required to have the landscaping.
Thank you. That's all.
Commissioner Saku.
Just congratulations and good luck to Commissioner Zanis, and that's it for me.
Commissioner Powers.
Good luck to you, Ted, and appreciate your time. And I just want to say the Omni packet, and I think it was a staff report that had bulleted out what we asked for and what the status of that stuff. It was a really good job. It's so helpful when you guys do that, and they actually see it appear in the packet. So I appreciate the work you do with the reports to tell us exactly what we're looking at. So thanks.
Thank you. Echoing everybody else, Ted, we'll miss you as a neighbor. Good luck in the future.
And on the hill?
He's not going to be on the hill anymore, so. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
You didn't ask if anybody was opposed.